here we are. This is So What'd You Learn? Podcast where we learn from other people's mistakes so you don't have to. I'm Alex.
My name is Zach.
And my name's Dallas.
And we are here to talk about interesting stories from our lives and just...
Or not interesting stories from our lives.
Right, or
stories
horrifying,
to
or...
boredom you, verb nouns.
Think about us as your depressed buddies that you talk to about has the really fucked up lives that are just kind of interesting. You wonder, how does that guy live?
And that is
people.
Zach projecting, but I appreciate it.
This is me pontificating on bullshit. Welcome to the show, fellas.
And lady.
And
My goodness.
All right, that's getting intense.
Yeah. It's like camping.
Ooh.
Because it's intense.
God damn it.
Alex, do you have a story for us today?
I do. So this happened to me when I was a little nugget, a little worm, probably 6
Chicken
or
nugget,
7. Chicken nugget, yes, because you know the the theme of this story.
Sorry.
So we were at one of our homeschooling friends' houses, and yes, I was homeschooled. And we're at one of their compounds or their fortresses, or whatever homeschoolers call their
So you went
properties. Their encampments. No,
You
they're
went to the Jim Jones school of...
yes. We were not allowed to wear pants. We all had to wear white flowy robes.
Okay, so I grew up Catholic, so I relate to that.
Yes, exactly.
I grew
No,
up nothing, so I have no input.
Who said that?
whatsoever.
You and your magic sky god.
well, and like something like 85% of homeschoolers homeschool for religious reasons, but luckily for me, I mean, no offense to any potential listener, singular, out there who is a religious person.
Jacob.
Well,
It's
I don't know.
inside baseball, you can cut that.
And we were not. My family was. We did go to church, but it was only as a reconnaissance mission. So my parents could learn how to talk to other homeschooling parents because they were all super religious, and my parents were not.
It was a community thing more than a religious thing.
Yeah. And so my mom was like, "How the fuck am I going to talk to these weird Jesus freaks? I know, infiltrate their stronghold."
So your mother took the Cobra approach to
Yeah.
making
It was
friends.
pretty intense. And I was like, "What, Mom? Why did we bother going to church? Like, you always said that like we're neo-pagans or something like that." And we went to we spent a lot of our childhood in like a weird nature cult school, which
How
is a
many
story
years?
for another time,
All right.
another podcast
Now, can you
episode.
clarify for people out there what is neo-pagan? Just quickly surmise
It's
it.
well, it's kind of like you do like the solstice, and you maybe there's crystals, and you harvest herbs and make tinctures for when
Okay,
you're
so it's your aunt's religion.
yeah, kind of, except
Yeah.
without as much of the sort of what's the word, consumerist angles that the hippies have kind of grown into, where
I
they're
see.
like, oh, come to my shop where I read your aura. Basically, you walk in, I take $50, and I just name a color.
What are you thinking right now? Talking
Yes,
in
so
hushed tones. I get you.
yes, with a lot of beads and mandalas every where, dream catchers for some reason. Anyway, so
Dallas
we
is
were.
doing a hippie hand in the background.
One of the things about homeschooling families is that they oftentimes all know each other, which, it's like, oh, you were homeschooled. Do you know the fucking Robinsons? And you're like, well, yes, I do. All 12 of them.
So did you and all your little homeschool buddies have homeschool sleepovers?
Not sleepovers, but there was a co-op. It is a
Okay,
co-op
alright.
where people go and they're like, oh, look, other weird children.
Okay, so it's like when I went to an all-boys Catholic high school. Another story for another day.
Several stories, I'm sure.
We literally called them sock hops that we went to with other Catholic girls' schools to like meet up and awkwardly dance in socks in our gym. Because we were in high school, and we had to make room for Jesus. You couldn't dance
No
too
front
close.
to front, only side, only crust hugs. Like if you're two
No,
pieces
little-
of bread, you just crust to crust, not bread to bread. That's sin bread.
You'll make Jesus cry. No, those literally teachers that would go around and tap you on the shoulder and make room for Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I think I already know the answer to this, but where did you both grow up?
I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit in Michigan,
And I grew up in a city-shaped toilet called Burien, Washington.
outside of beautiful Seattle.
Beautiful, yes. Well, Seattle's all right. Burien's actually not that bad.
Where we're
like saying
located?
that. In Burien.
Where the solid
Well,
waste
Normandy
studio
Park.
is.
Normandy Park.
Normandy Park, Burien.
Normandy Park
nobody
doesn't
gives a
count.
fuck.
I just say Burien or Des Moines. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
White Center.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Let's do all the local.
South Seattle.
Anyway, so we go to this their house, and they have a long like rolling backyard. They have chickens. They have a cow paddock, and my mother was more friends with the other mother than we were friends with the kids, and so the kids weren't home. They were off doing some extracurricular. We call that being let out of the house, and. We were like, hey, we're bored. I'm like, I think I was like 6 or 7, and my sister was 8 or 9 at the time. So we're like, hey, let's go fuck with the chickens. Let's go make their lives miserable because we're bored.
Sure, you're bored kids.
Yeah, we're
You're
bored
gonna
kids.
get
We're
around
find
stuff.
something shitty to do.
Sure.
And the woman, I can't remember her name, she was like, yeah, go collect eggs. Just don't go in the cow paddock because the bull can be very aggressive.
A foreshadowing,
You'd think.
you'd think.
Quite possibly. I'm getting ahead of myself. But we're like, oh yeah, Captain. So we fuck off down to the chicken coop, which is like probably the size of like 2 fairly large rooms. Like it's a pretty big
big-ass chicken
enclosure, a big ass chicken coop for ass chickens.
You're just fucking off down there.
Fucking off down with all the ass chickens, and
you do.
and you know it's like the wall was wall height.
I knew you were going to say that, and I was so hoping that would come out of your mouth.
My God. Okay, so it was about the height of your standard door. The gate was like a door-sized thing.
About 7 or so feet tall.
And maybe 6. We were tall.
Was it
We were short little
outdoor?
motherfuckers. We go into this chicken coop, and it's made of it's a fucking chicken coop. Okay,
No, so you got wood panels, hay around. I'm picturing.
It's all chicken wire.
Brownish red paint.
I don't know if it was painted, but there's like the coop, like the hen house in the chicken coop, because the chicken coop is like a fenced-in area, and then the hen house was in that where they would the roost where they would go up and
I
lay
see.
their eggs.
Yeah, I was picturing a big like long house that was just the coop, but that was just a big wooden structure. So it's a
Yeah, no, it's an enclosure,
okay.
open-topped enclosure,
That makes a lot more sense.
chicken wire, and then there's the coop inside. So we go in the coop, and we're picking up eggs. We got, I don't know, 8 to 10 of them or whatever.
Yeah.
And we go to leave, and we realize that the door had shut behind us, and it had one of those gate latches, but the gate latch was only on the outside, and there was a
Okay.
string from the gate latch so that when you're inside the coop, you pull the string and it opens the door. But it was
just
on
gritting his teeth
it
in
was
anger.
on the outside of the fucking door. And our grubby little fingers couldn't fit far enough through the fucking chicken wire to get we're like blowing it, trying to hope it'll swing back, and we'll like
Get a little
grip it
waiting for a
feverishly.
wisp of wind.
Yeah. And if you know anything about chicken wire, it's very small mesh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
It's like the size of a dime or so, maybe a
yeah,
nickel.
yeah. And for those curious, it is that small because it keeps pesky raccoon hands from reaching in and trying to pull a chicken out
During
through the
raccoon
fence
season.
during raccoon season. There's a side story about that, about our neighbors who had chickens, and the neighbor comes over the fence, and he's like, Paul, at like 3 a.m. Paul's my father. And my dad's like, what do you want, Steve? And he's like, I need you to come. There's an emergency. So my dad goes over, and our neighbors, in their infinite wisdom, had decided to make their chicken coop out of chain link.
Bigger.
I can fit probably, well, if I make a fisty fist with it, I can fit it.
The fist for fisting.
Yeah,
For
the
fisting,
actual-
where you grip
Yeah.
all your fingers together and so you can
The human pair.
get it. Yeah, exactly. Fuck. So, a raccoon had reached in, and to say the very least, the chicken felt a bit strained.
Strangled.
Just like, yeah, it was open and it was still alive and it was suffering, and Steve was like, I can't deal with that. So my dad's like, oh, Jesus Christ. So he goes home, gets a bottle of starting ether, and just sprays the chicken in the face with it for a second.
So he ethers the chicken.
He ethers the chicken, so the chicken's like, bark, 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 brr, 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 and just like uses the shovel and like,
Yeah.
brains it.
Yeah.
And then he hands the shovel back to Steve, says good night, and just goes back to bed.
Yeah, that's one of those just here.
Here, yeah.
Fuck. Go.
And so what I learned from that story, side, so what you learn is...
Side story.
Side story. Sharks in the jet. No, that's my Fair Lady. No, what is that? Is that West Side Story?
That's West Side Story.
When you're a jet all the way.
Yeah, that's the snapping.
The snapping.
I should snap into the microphone.
But I learned from that story is don't keep livestock if you are not prepared to dispatch them to save their suffering.
Sure. Yeah.
If you cannot bring yourself to like kill a chicken if you need to, you should not have chickens.
If you can't be animal Jack Kevorkian, do not have animals.
Exactly, and I feel the same way about children.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think I have the grip strength to kill a child.
Well, that's why you got to get a garrote before. They put that in the baby books. That's why you read them.
That's why they say don't leave cords hanging around. Wink, wink, wink.
Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're sitting
Anyway.
in a chicken coop like Chris Farley in the rowboat, waiting for a gust of wind to come.
Yeah.
come
We're
back.
just trying to get this string, and it's been like, I don't know, 10 minutes. And you know what that means? It means we're going to die. We're going to die in this chicken coop. We're going to starve to
you're
death.
panicked children.
We're panicked children. So we're screaming for our mother. We're like, Mom! What?
Mama!
Yeah.
Jesus, okay.
Anyway, the wind blows. Ironically, the wind was not blowing.
The wind
That
was
would've helped
not
you.
blowing.
Yeah.
It would have assisted greatly.
Oh, man.
So we're like, she must not be able to hear us. So instead of thinking like, well, screaming won't work, being children, we're like, well, she can't hear us. Maybe we're not being specific enough. Ma Eileen, your children are trapped in the chicken coop.
Martha, you hear something? I could have sworn I heard something off in the distance.
Cut to inside, and my mom is like, are you hearing that noise? That's a really strange noise. And the woman, I wish I could remember her name. Doesn't matter. She says, and I quote, those are the chickens. They make weird noises sometimes. Just ignore it.
Sometimes they sound like children.
Screaming for their mother.
Nature's funny, I guess.
Some call it perverse. And so my mom was like, okay, it's fine. So,
Fucking weirdos.
yeah. And now there is an opening in the side of the enclosure that we can fit through.
Yeah.
But it leads to the cow paddock. And so we're like, fuck.
Yes, that you were
Can't
forewarned.
go there. We were forewarned. We did not go into the cow paddock because we would rather starve to death
Well,
than
when
get
you
trampled
have
by a... Oh, that's true, idiot. Our skin and coat would be glorious.
What
Oh,
was
yes.
the door situation in the cow paddock?
It was just a fence.
Oh, you just climb over it.
But
Yeah.
it did
Like
have a
one
possibly
fence.
enraged
It
bull
had
in
a bull in it that she was
Oh.
like, do not go in there.
Do not go in.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
you could have ended up like Johnny Knoxville and Jackass. You know?
Or many other internet videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
The running of the bulls.
Or that guy that got the horn in the cornhole.
Ooh, God!
Cornhole.
You had to bring that one up.
I mean,
I love the game cornhole.
I do
but
too.
I hate the name.
Can we
It's
just call it
beanbag toss.
no,
Beanbag
fuck,
toss.
fuck no. You play goddamn cornhole and you enjoy and you say that
And you say, "Thank you, sir," with gritted teeth.
What came first, the cornhole or
I'm pretty sure cornholing people came first. I think it was the Greeks.
and then they made a game. Well, were the beanbags
Why, Barnabas? This
filled
is a-
with corn?
That's I assume that
I
they were
assume
filmed
that's
with
what it
corn.
was.
That's why it's
Yes.
a Midwest
It
sort of
came from
game.
the Midwest.
Yeah.
Again, Michigan.
corn
So
And here, we have beans. Obviously, I don't know.
Beanbag.
We have,
really thought that was gonna
so-
take a weirder direction.
but yeah, so we're in this thing. We're gonna die. We've screamed our little child voices hoarse, and
So you resigned to your fate.
I've done
I'm
receive
gonna
my
die
fate,
here.
and then I'm looking at the door that is keeping us from our freedom, and I notice that the slats are like horizontal and diagonal to support the door. I'm like, I could probably climb that
Sure.
because I'm 6 and didn't think about it for the last 25 minutes. We were stuck in this
No,
chicken
you're
coop.
focused on the original goal of screaming.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just like, oh, I could and just climb up and just like unlatch the gate and climb down. And we're like, oh, that was surprisingly easy. I don't know why we fucking panicked so hard, but we run up to the house. We're like, Mom, we got trapped in the chicken coop and we almost died. And what I learned that day, I learned 2 things.
Ah, very good.
Never underestimate the power of the Z-axis. Always check if you can go up.
I mean, that third dimension.
The
It's
third,
a game
we do
changer.
exist in 3, some say 4 dimensions. Ooh. And so you can climb shit. And the other more important lesson I learned is always make sure you have an exit. Don't go into a confined space and shut the door behind you unless you know you can open the fucking door again. Dallas just pointed to the fact that the door to this room is in fact open.
With your back to it, ironically as well.
It's in my
So,
periphery. Okay, I
do
can
you
see.
have residual effects when you're like in the bathroom or a public place?
Yeah, when I'm in like
You're
a
always looking around
confined space,
for an
I'm like,
Just in the dead of night. As you drift off to sleep and you're just,
I just
you're in your comfy bed.
Chicken dream again. Do you have an example of when that has benefited you since that event?
It's just something I just habitually do every
just
time I'm like
interviewing you at this
in a
point.
yeah.
Well, that's a good thing to remember. Always have an exit strategy. I mean, literally the last 20 years of our country has been without an exit strategy, and look how that's going.
Yeah. Speaking of, bye guys.
Right, and
He just ran out of the room. He left an Alex-shaped hole in the wall.
let that little silhouette of smoke in his body position. And he looked way better than Sonic doing it, so
oh my goodness.
Oh my god, topical. That'll
way to
date
date
the
this
show.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is
Evergreen.
May 3rd, 2019. Coming
yes.
to you live at 6:42 p.m. It's not live; it's recorded.
I assure you that we are all alive. That is why we are talking.
Yes.
This isn't a Beyond the Grave cast, although that's a good idea for a podcast.
Yeah, you just need
How do
to
you do that?
dig a bunch of corpses, put up some microphones, and just sit back and watch the magic happen.
Yeah, and then when the cops come, you can explain that no, I'm an artist and I'm doing this, and then you plug the Patreon.
It's an installation officer.
You're just in this stand up, and there's just a bunch of different dudes with different faces cut onto their face.
You wouldn't understand. You're right, sir. I wouldn't, and you're going to jail.
So that's my story.
Well,
That's what I
that's
learned.
the story. I
Thank
like
you. Plenty of
And
detours.
people may underestimate the value of knowing your exit in
exactly.
any given situation.
Always know where you poop from. So how about you, Zach? Do you have so what'd you learn for us today?
I do, in fact, and in fact, it's the story that led to this podcast. It was when I first told you, Alex, and I told you the sordid little tale I'm about to tell. You paused for a moment and
Said
Thought.
so. What'd you learn?
And here we are.
Here we fucking are.
After a friend of ours has spent a lot of money on recording equipment, and
Thank you, Dallas.
thank you, Daddy Gallus.
I needed it
Mr.
anyway.
Moneybags.
I needed it anyway for the music I don't record. As we're surrounded by instruments and other.
It's that guitar there. Don't
And
even look
Gene
at it. Don't look at that guitar. Don't even look at it.
Don't even look. I don't even want you to think about playing that.
Please go to 11.
Well, why don't you just? No, I'm not gonna go. No.
We all know it.
So it was the night before last Thanksgiving, and I was feeling, let's call it a little blue. Had recently had some tragedies in my life that I'm sure we'll get into if this podcast keeps going, because I'm gonna run out of material.
Right? Let me tell you about that time I was really sad.
We'll eventually run out of material and friends to tell us stories.
I mean,
So we'll just have to bring in our enemies.
oh, that might be fun.
Yeah, bring people we
Cast.
hate. It's like, hey, you fucking piece of shit. Tell us a story. It better be funny.
It won't be.
It doesn't have to be funny.
Yeah, exactly. But if we bring in someone we hate, we don't want to listen to their sob stories because we don't care about them or their feelings.
But that makes
So-
it funny. I thought that was exactly the point.
Jay.
Anyway,
I just want to say that I try not to actually like hate any particular people, but some others make it very difficult not
Yes,
to.
yes, we've established
That's
we're
all-
from Seattle.
So, yes.
So getting back to the story, I was feeling, as I said, a bit blue. I had gone through some tragedies in my life, and well, we had a little bit of booze in us, and I had, in the last year or so, had recently come out of the closet, so I was still in my exploration phase.
I'm coming. Okay, sorry.
All right, before we get
Derailing.
no, we're not. This story goes nowhere. You can't derail a train that has no track. So anyway, I'm still in that exploration phase, so I get a couple drinks in me, and I'm feeling a little blue, so I decide to go cruising at our local gay bar.
where's that?
Doesn't matter.
Dallas was just like, local gay bar? I've not heard of such a thing, such a den of disrepute.
Ill repute.
Sin! Also, if I ever made a gay bar,
Yeah.
my dream I don't. That's not my dream. If I had a dream, and that dream was, if I had a dream, and that dream was to make a gay bar,
I like that voice.
it would be called the Yummy Butthole.
That's not allowed on a sign.
And
Sure you can.
yeah, it sure it is.
Sure, called the chocolate starfish. It worked for
And
Fred
the
Durst.
logo would be like one of those rainbow lollipops, but it would be an anus.
That's pretty fun. I like that. I'd go there.
Yeah, it would, juice only. not no alcohol. Juice bar. Juice gay bar.
Juice gay bar.
Only that gay juice.
Oh, that gay juice.
Sorry. Okay. Anyway,
Juice milk.
you went to the local gay bar,
went
which
to the
Dallas did
local
not know
bar.
existed.
Going
La
down
la
the
la
street
la la.
to the bar.
Yeah. Jaunting down the street as I do.
In your lederhosen.
In my little horse and a couple of pints in me. Oof, I am just looking through. I can't keep that going.
As a matter of fact, please don't.
You don't want to hear about my sexy adventures?
Oh, Gunther. Yeah.
That's not sexy at all. That's very sad.
I don't know. Some German, accents can be sexy, especially when they're yelling profanity. I don't know. I watch too much freaky porn.
We'll get into put a pin in that. Speaking of which,
Spin in that. We'll circle back around.
We can learn from our
dick in
porn
that.
adventures
Exactly.
later. Yeah.
so I'm going down to the gay bar, and actually, funnily enough, the weirdness doesn't start to leave the gay bar. I actually didn't find anything I was really looking for in there. You know, sometimes you have to try a few different fishing spots. That's kind of gross, but I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, fish. Ew.
Hey man, you're in your exploration phase. You can fish around for all the different types of fish that Seattle has to offer.
So next door to said gay bar is a kind of what I would call like a 70s, 60s sports bar type place. They were having a karaoke night. So I go in there, and the karaoke is being hosted by a cute little Thai boy.
Oh.
So I sit down at a table with a lovely little older couple that was just out, having a good time. They're the type of people you can tell are regulars. you know,
They've grown into the seat.
Pretty
the seat
much.
travels with them. So
But they're my kind of drunks. They're like the older, they're missing a couple teeth, but they don't really give a shit type of thing.
Hey,
But they're nice
funny.
people, and like, you know, so I went up, I did my, you know, gay little song, and of course it was David Bowie.
that was so good. Sit down here. Let me tell you about the war.
And it was kind of like that. I sat down and I make a passing reference of like, oh, the host is pretty cute, and it's like, you want me to go talk to him? This is the older lady talking to me. It's like, you want me to talk to him? Write down your phone number, and I'll give it to him.
Nice. She's like the wing man.
Yeah,
like,
she's
just
wing.
has
She's
never
wing
met you.
grandmaing me.
Yeah. Never met you. She's like, I'll hook you up. Matchmaker, matchmaker.
Oh, you make
I'll
a
make a
cute little
match.
gay couple, you and that little Thai boy.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be so cute together because they're gay, and I think gays are cute in general.
Well, you know, we're pretty
Like
progressive
their
here,
love
Martha.
is actual love. It's so cute how they pretend.
So I got my wing grandma.
Oh, wing grandma! Wing grandma!
And eventually, after probably 4 or 5 more whiskey sodas, and
Fuck.
yeah, no, I'm very
That's-
drunk at this point.
That's like a 5 to a 2 Friday night.
This was a Wednesday night.
All right.
So, I like
Lordy.
that day before Thanksgiving. So everybody's out having a good time.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's the best day. Well, one of the best. The day right before a holiday, Thanksgiving.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So I end up, I'm very hammered. I do end up going home with this man. And this is where the weirdness starts.
You chat him up for the lady
We-
bring him
we-
over?
He's
I
like,
don't-
hey, I got a dick. You got a dick.
Pretty
Let's
much,
do
I
this.
don't remember
That's how
anything
gays
we
pick
talked
each other
Did you
up.
about.
drink 5 whiskey sodas?
Yeah, no, fucking
Did you just give him a good old double blink?
Yeah, I'll go home with you. Where are we going? Cool, let's party.
Like, I'm tired.
Got it in most candy.
Honestly, if it were offered, I would have done it, but
Okay.
you can edit that out later.
Hey, man.
Hey,
you're
we've all
winning.
been
You're on
there.
top of the game.
All been there.
Yeah. So we get in the back. He apparently lives with his roommate, or with a roommate that picks him up. Of course, none of this is registering as red flags. So a yellow gremlin pulls up, like seriously out of fucking Wayne's World, except it was bright yellow.
Okay.
It was like, oh yeah, cool. I'll fucking, and I get in the back of the 2-seater car, so I'm trapped in there already.
This is terrifying.
Oh my god, all the like boop.
But old Boo's
Abort,
brain is
abort,
just like, oh,
abort.
you guys seem cool. Where are we going? It doesn't
We're
matter.
going to the quarry.
Yeah, they could have literally taken me to anywhere and fucking blown my brains out, or just blown me, and I would have blown my brains out in a different way. But that didn't happen. So we get to his shitty house in. Excuse me. So we get to his shitty house in. It was about 5 minutes away, and the area we're in is not exactly known for being nice
Or safe.
or safe. Also
and it's
that.
very late.
Let me
and
just
we're
say
very drunk.
the nickname is Rat City, so that should put something into people's minds.
Hit it down. Burn out now. Rats it out.
Originally, the name Rat City was associated because of the shipping wharfs. So the ships would come in, and all the rats would come off the ship into Rat City. Also, because the place is dirty as fuck.
Isn't there Rat City roller girls?
There is Rat City Roller Girls. They're a
yeah.
wonderful roller derby team.
Yes, there. They do a lot of charity around there.
That'd be fun
Yeah,
to
they
watch.
beat people up. You
Yeah,
know, they
also that.
skate down the sidewalks, push it over grannies.
Skate my way downtown. Rats over there.
Rats out there and I'm homebound.
I would skate 1,000 blocks.
All right, so we get up to the shitty house, and I'm walking up. I'm still having a good time, fucking sauntering up with,
It's like 5 whiskeys.
yeah, just like I'm just full of booze.
You're
and
more whiskey than
confidence.
blood at this point.
Yeah, so he was more booze than mine.
It's astounding.
So immediately, door opens. Just a waft of shit just hits me in like a punch, sobering punch in the face. I don't know if you've ever had that immediate reaction of like,
You're like,
just
this- that is
drunk.
So that smells like rotting human remains. I'm
I
gonna
definitely
die.
have. Yes.
So immediately, as we're walking in, he's like, "Oh, by the way, I have 7 cats and 4 dogs. I hope
is
you
this
don't
a
mind."
house?
It's a house.
Do you, okay.
It looked like a fucking crust punk house.
Let's
Oh my
pause.
God.
Information you've gathered here. You've got your man. His brother took you home.
His roommate. I
His
don't know
roommate.
the relation.
Okay, so far you know there's 2 people, 7 cats,
4 dogs.
4 dogs.
Yep.
You're drunk.
Yeah. No, and again,
You're
I'm
like,
sti-
this is fine.
I'm like, all right, well, fuck it, I'm here. I wanted to have a good time. Let's see if we can make this happen. There is a shitty like sectional that looks like they got it off the side of the road.
They
and
probably did.
Probably did. And he asked me, he was like, well, I don't have anything to drink, but do you want to watch some TV? I was like, yeah, sure, anything to take my mind off of what's going on here. So he gets this little, had to be like maybe not even a 25-inch screen that was like nailed to the wall like a fucking picture frame. And
But at least it wasn't a CRT, was it? It wasn't like a
no,
heavy...
it was like a flat screen, but it was like a 25-inch, like something you would put like in a minivan to entertain a child.
Or like a portable DVD player.
Something like that.
Who
Yeah.
remembers those? Am I right?
Hey, we're old people.
Yeah.
So it was like, I have Futurama and some other shitty movie that came out in like the mid 2000s that I wasn't gonna watch. So
He said that to you.
Geely.
Okay.
Was it Geely?
no, it was like Jumper, Looper, something shitty
Oh,
like
was
that.
it Push?
Might have been actually.
Oh,
That
I
sounds
just
familiar.
caught part of that. I just caught part of that at a bar. They were playing it, and I was like, I can't even hear this, and this is garbage. Like, you just watch it, you're like, this fucking
Or you can just
sucks.
see it and just like, I can tell this sucks ass.
Yeah, Camilla Bell was the female lead, and you're like, oh, right, she was in 2 things, and then no one ever heard from her again because she is not skilled at her craft.
She's not good at what she does.
I have to say I love going to Elmer's on weeknights where they have MASH with subtitles and then it's just CCR on a loop.
It's pretty fun.
Yes.
That is pretty fun.
That's a good few hours.
Yeah, that's the type of bar I left. Was that type of bar.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right. Again, this is day before Thanksgiving, so it's cold out. I'm like got my winter coat on, and so I don't even want to take off my coat. So we sit down and we try to cuddle. He strips down into his underwear. I'm still hat, shoes, and just like I feel so uncomfortable. I feel so we start watching.
You're like, I'm fully
Futurama.
clothed, and I feel so naked.
It's exactly that, actually. I'm just trying to ignore the cats around because I don't really like dogs or cats that much. I have a rabbit. I'm weird. Like, I'll tolerate them, but a lot of them is too much.
Is Mac in here?
And not to mention, as I said before, this room smelled overwhelmingly like shit, like cat shit specifically. So I'm just trying to endure and trying to still have a good time because I'm still feeling wasted, but I'm acutely aware of my situation now.
Sure.
I'm like, I just get back into it. All right. So we're watching Futurama. I believe it was the one where Fry and Bender get go into the army. I do have flashes of that. Mm-hmm. So then he asked me if I want to blow him. I was like, okay.
Bury the lead.
Just out of the gate, I'm naked, you're fully clothed, want to blow me.
Pretty much, yeah. And we're sitting
is a
on this
weird
couch
night.
in the
like,
dark.
I would, but it smells like shit in here.
But nope, I forge on forward. It's like, I really did want to suck some dick tonight, so
Gotta get it in. It's like getting your steps in. You're like, I guess I gotta commit.
So I go down on him, finish it. It's just awkward and weird and uncomfortable because I'm again still wearing my winter coat
Could you
and shoes.
put the hood on just
I think I might have taken my hat off. I don't
Right.
remember, like my
Yeah.
beanie.
You stand up and you're just like, gotta go, bye.
Now, see, if I was smart, that's what I would have
Oh
done.
no.
I spend the night
Oh
because
no.
I don't know where I am. I'm
no
drunk.
reciprocating favors?
I didn't want to. It was.
Yeah, if it was so
I-
you couldn't even.
I could not get hard in this situation.
Plus-
I tried.
Let me tell you, anything more than 5 whiskeys, I'm gonna have a hard time, regardless of the situation.
That does make me feel better about performance anxiety, but so he So I sleep on the shitty little sectional couch. I get no pillow, no blanket, so I just curl myself up, mummy style, in my coat, and pray for morning to come.
I'm so terrified. Right
And keep in mind, it's winter, so morning isn't for hours.
hours, and it's 10 o'clock.
No, this was at like 3 or 4 in the morning, something like because that's the only time something horrible like this can happen. Sun's up, sun's out. All right, fuck it.
Guns out.
I'm getting out. Yeah, guns out. Sun's out.
Yeah, all the rats are asleep at this point.
Yeah,
you get that
everyone's-
sweet 6-7 o'clock range, and you are safer than you have ever been on those streets.
So I immediately leave and do my lovely walk of shame home, which was about a half-hour walk, about 20 blocks or so.
Not bad.
Not too bad. I stopped and got myself a Red Bull.
Perfect.
Walking,
Had yourself a good cry.
Yeah, pretty much. Luckily, I had headphones, so I was able to listen to. I think I was listening to the last podcast on the left. So I was able to
Shout out.
to just distract
Drinking
myself.
a Red Bull, staring into We Buy Gold here, and listening to Ed Gein.
So as you can ascertain, I'm at a crater point in my life. It's about to get worse. So I get home, reach in my back pocket, and fuck me, my keys are gone. I usually keep them clipped onto my, one of my belt loops, and they're gone.
Oh no.
Fuck me.
Jesus.
I have to contact this weird man that I
Wait, you have a phone and his number?
I have his phone and his number,
Okay.
but I really don't ever want to see him again.
But not his name.
I don't remember his name.
Classic gay.
You were just a number to me.
I mean, basically. So this is when I have my depressing sit down and like, oh, fuck. All right, I got to text this idiot and get back to his house and it's like, hey, you still home? I left my keys there. And it's like, no, I went to work, honey, but you can go over there and check if you want. Just be careful for my dogs. So at this point, fuck it. I don't want to walk back. I call a lift and take the couple minute lift up there. And
It's like $5.
So the roommate knew you. Instead of just asking the roommate if he was home, it was just like, go into my house. I don't care. That's fine.
apparently he left the door unlocked or something.
Nothing to lose.
There was nothing worth stealing in there. Let me
Right,
tell you.
okay, well, that's pretty sad to begin with, but
So I go.
Gotta find that shit. It's worth its weight in shit.
So I go into show up at this crappy little house again, which surprised I remembered the address, and open the front door. And immediately, it's like, you remember from Hey Arnold, the opening credits where all the animals
The cats run out.
fuck.
Bum, bum, ba-dum.
Did you do something you regret last night? That was a very special episode of Hey Arnold. So he warns me of like, that's what's gonna happen. So I squeeze through a little opening in the door. Smell is still there. It's somehow gotten more humid in the room since last, because the front door led right into the room where I had slept and did horrible things. So everything was kind of damp to the touch.
Oh, God. Mildly sticky and moist.
So all right, where would I left my keys? They're not anywhere I can see them. Fuck, they have to be in that gross sectional. So I literally I'm
rolled up
fucking-
his sleeve like
I'm
he was
fucking
putting
going
on
in for
a
a prostate
like
exam.
fucking Laura
man.
Dern in Jurassic Park with that fucking armpit length latex
Exactly.
glove digging into the
And if
giant
I had
pile of
one those,
Triceratops
oh my
shit.
God, I would have. God, did I need one? It's one of those things where you like.
Did it make this noise?
It might as well have. It might as well sound like I was sticking my hand into a jar of mayonnaise.
Oh.
And I wish I would have protected.
I don't even know what to say about this.
It keeps going. So I do. It's like, you ever just have that moment where I'm just like, I don't want to do this, but I know I have to. It's like when you drop something valuable down the sink and you know it's gross and full of like phlegm and hair and shit. This is exactly how I felt.
Yes.
So I reach in, it is like damp and slimy in between the faux leather or leather of the cushions. And I start,
God.
all right, time to feel around. And it was And it literally was the scene out of The Simpsons when Homer's looking under the couch for his peanut, and it's like, all right, slimy, moving.
Oh God.
And then I find the. Okay, fuck! I found him like this worst, like a claw machine in hell.
I got it.
Pull it out. This is when the littlest dog, apparently curious by all the activity and my jubilation of being so excited I found my keys, comes up, bites me straight on the calf. Enough to like pull me around and rip my pants.
Did it
Whoa.
break the skin?
Yes, it did.
How big
I
is
just-
this? What kind of dog?
It was like a little bulldog or some
Oh,
bulldog mix.
tiny mean motherfucker.
Yeah, a little mean motherfucker. So I tried to kick that motherfucker off.
And then mistake
I didn't
number
kick the
one.
dog.
Oh, yeah, just eat it.
Oh yeah.
For any dog lovers concerned, I didn't hurt the dog. I was angry at it, but I wasn't going to take
Even
my
though it
rage.
deserved it.
mean,
No, it
kinda.
didn't.
It
It didn't.
did.
But it had it coming. No, it didn't
Kinda.
either. No, it's fine.
All right, so I leave. I text the guy, "Hey, I found my keys," and he has the audacity of like, "Oh, that's great. So you want to hang out later?" I blew up on this guy. I was like, "No, your fucking dog bit me. Your house smells like shit. Just like, nothing about you is." Ugh. You're cute. That's all you got going for you. How much of a garbage person, like masked shadow thing you have is astonishing." He was like, "Oh, my dog didn't bit you. That's funny." I was like, "Fuck you. Never contact me." Blocked the number, and I took a lift home.
Yeah, you're just like,
As you should.
And then, side note, I took off all my clothes because they were covered in shame, and eventually had to get that coat dry cleaned. Threw out those pants because the smell wouldn't leave them.
oh God.
Yeah. So that's my story of the worst and probably last hookup I will ever have in my life.
I'm really
Wow.
curious to the first thing you said to
The
him in
fuck?
the bar.
Suck my dick.
Probably was.
It's just a note with like half a number.
Where are
on
you
it, and
from,
he's like, I
Tyler?
Cock, yes.
I got a yellow pin somewhere for you.
Hey, I got 3 yellow pins left in my basket at home. Do you want to be one of them?
I'm knocking out a tic-tac-toe thing with my friend. I got a bingo board I got to fill out.
So, wow, that was a harrowing story.
So to piggyback on...
I think this guy ruined hooking up for
He did,
him.
yeah. No,
I mean,
I-
hooking up is fine. Like, you get back out there and in there. But
all
you
around,
just
up
gotta
and on
not.
Well, I think I have to learn. I have to,
R.I.P.
actually talk to
Craigslist.
people and learn.
Learn better judgment.
Yeah,
Have a
maybe go on a
reference.
few dates before, we go straight to
That's
things.
true.
Yeah.
So I guess, to your point, Alex, what you said earlier is, something I learned is, have an exit strategy.
Oh man, come full circle. I love it.
That's what we call a callback. folks.
Yes, yes. And now it turns out we have a theme for today's
Wait,
episode.
and so what'd you learn, Zach? What was the whole...
That was what it was like. Always know when to walk. You can walk away whenever you want.
Yeah,
you do
you
not
can.
have to follow through in anything. Always have an exit strategy.
My body, my choice.
Don't have 8 whiskey sodas and then go home with a random Thai boy that you don't remember the name of.
I don't think his race is relevant here, but...
Yeah, fair enough. Far the
These are
information.
good
But what
lessons.
if he was
I'm sure-
Vietnamese?
He might
I'm
not
sure...
remember.
I mean, I can
That's
benefit. I could have benefited from these lessons. Fucking, I don't know.
Learn
5
from my
years
bad
ago.
examples, folks. But that did actually help me reach rock bottom and turn my life around. Oh,
yay.
Now here I am hosting a podcast, so everything's going great.
Rock bottom is a jumping off point.
What a gift!
Can that be our outro song?
You can do whatever you
The
want.
chorus to Rock Bottom. What were we gonna say? You had one more thing?
So we've got our 2 stories out, but Alex, I think you wanted to introduce a fun
it's
fact
a fun,
for the episode.
fun fact segment.
Fun fact!
Fun fact.
So, apropos of nothing, I recently rewatched the classic film Singing in the Rain, which if either of you have not seen it, or if listeners have not seen it, it's wonderful. And there's singing, and there's dancing.
Rain.
And rain. I was, I am one of those people that I watch a movie and I'm like, oh, there's probably some cool stuff to learn about this movie behind the scenes. And the film is basically about the silent era of filmmaking coming to an end. And in order to still make money, this studio and their major star decided they're going to turn his most recent picture into a talkie. The problem...
Talkie, you say?
Talkie, yes. The problem is that his co-star, who everyone thinks, oh, she's so beautiful. She's played by, I want to say her name is Lena Hagen. She plays... I can't remember the character's name, but
She has a really annoying voice like this. What do you think I am? Dumb or something?
Okay, so she sounds
She's-
like Harley Quinn from the Batman cartoons.
yes,
Lena Lamont.
that's her name. She plays Lena Lamont. So they're making the movie into a talkie, but her voice is terrible. And so the main guy, played by Gene Kelly, who is so pretty, but apparently had a really nasty temper,
I can see that.
was a perfectionist.
Dances like a beautiful angel.
Yes, like a dancing angel of rage. And so he meets Debbie Reynolds, who is 19 at the time, who plays Kathy Selden. And they basically, they're like, oh, well, Lena Lamont, her voice is terrible, but Kathy Selden can be the voice of Lena Lamont for the talkie. So we'll have her dub Lena Lamont, and it'll be Kathy Selden as the voice. And they're like, oh my God, this is great. Lena Lamont thinks this is a terrible idea. Naturally, she
She gets no credit. I want all. She doesn't appear on the credits.
and the thing that blew my hippie noodle is that this movie is about dubbing an actress with another actress and how kind of shitty that is.
Right. Yeah.
But there's a scene where Debbie Reynolds is in the recording studio dubbing Lena Hagen. So Kathy Selden is dubbing Lena Lamont. The voice that is being used is not Debbie Reynolds. They're dubbing her.
So they're dubbing for the dub.
They're dubbing for the dub. So the character who's dubbing the other character is actually being dubbed by a different actress.
Huh.
And you know who that actress was?
Who is that?
It was Lena Hagen, the woman who played Lena Lamont with the annoying voice. But her real voice was super deep and sultry. So she put and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? It's craziness.
So it's a stupid feedback loop of...
Yes.
She dubbed the person dubbing herself?
Yes.
The fuck?
And this has been your confusing corner with Alex.
But yeah.
Oh my
That
goodness.
was fun. That was fun.
They also wrote all the songs for that movie before they had a plot. So they're like, let's do all these songs and then figure out a story to go along with it. Because that's how they made movies back then.
Oh man.
Gadzooks.
Well, I liked your stories, guys. I'm excited to tell mine next time
Yeah,
should
we're
be a blast.
record.
forward.
Well, yeah, I think we're pretty good to wrap
That's
it up
pretty
tonight.
good.
Are we wrapping up? All right. Well, you can follow us on So What'd You Learn podcast on Instagram and Twitter. That is So WDY Learn podcast. And then you can also email us at the So WDYLEARN at gmail.com. So you can send us
Your stories, and we will read them.
We will read them. And if you want a particular person to read the story, that'd be fine.
And you can
Yeah.
remain anonymous if you would like, if you don't want everybody to know that you had a random gay hookup that you deeply regret.
Yeah, or we can dox you if you want. You know?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's
we
pretty
would
much
love
it.
to hear from you guys,
Yeah.
because I think that'd be a lot of fun to hear some random stories.
We
of,
love reading stories.
Yes.
We
Okay.
love stories.
All the stories, especially real
Story?
boring stories. Real and boring.
So
or not
boring.
Or sad. Or funny. All right, well, pump it in, dude.
The So What Did You Learn podcast is brought to you by the So What Did You Learn network. Theme written and recorded by Jacob Rose. Our logo was designed by Stevie Van Bronckhorst. Further work of hers can be found at stevievanb.com.